Countless women, children, and men go through gender-based violence and keep silent. And silence is no longer a choice.
Naona uchungu kwa macho yako, moyoni unaumia, mwilini unaumia, kwa kimya unatazama. Niongee ninyamaze, niseme ninyamaze. Unajiuliza, unashangaa. Uongee usinyamaze, useme usinyamaze. Nishike mkono, tuko pamoja. Simama, usiogope wewe. Simama, we ongea wewe. Simama, usiogope wewe. Tukomeshe ukatili wa kijinsia.
Welcome to Simama Talks. My name is Celestine Gashohe. Simama Talks is a space where we share stories, join voices to create awareness and also learn. So today is the first episode. I'm so excited. It's finally happening. And we have a guest, a beautiful woman, a psychologist. I can't wait because the topic today is so interesting. And it's something that I know all of you, you have sometimes you don't understand. And even me today, I'm going to be learning. So, karibu sana. Let's hear who she is, what she does. Karibu sana.
Thank you, Celestine. Thank you for
Karibu.
having me. It's a pleasure. My name's Tracy Korujendo. I am a psychologist and a life coach. I come from Uganda, but I've been married here for 14 years to a Kenyan.
Wow.
And it's a pleasure for me to be here because the topic of domestic violence is close to home. I grew up in a home where there was abuse. And I think most of us way back, we grew up in homes where there was a lot of abuse. And we didn't know and navigated life. So for me to be here to address it as a psychologist and share what happens, what goes on in the heart and the brain of someone who is the victim is really a pleasure for me to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for even accepting the call. Yani to come and share, because you've mentioned kitambo, like most of us grew up kulikuwa na mambo mingi za fights and all that, domestic violence. But you see, in those times, people were not talking about them. It was normal. And I'm loving the space we are in right now, the social media, the generation that we are in right now. Everyone is speaking. Like, and ukiona mtu mwingine anaongea, even you speak. So I'm really loving it. So today we're going to talk about the dilemma of a victim that is going through gender-based violence. And before tuendelee, when I was researching this topic, I saw there's a difference between domestic violence and abuse. Could you tell us the differences?
Okay, so violence is the one that we pay attention to. All forms of domestic violence is abuse, but not all forms of domestic abuse is violent.
Okay.
So domestic violence is all sorts of physical abuse like stabbing, choking, and slapping. And then domestic abuse is more of emotional and psychological.
Okay.
So the person is trying to have power and control over the victim. It might not be physical, but it's equally abuse. And it can be very damaging. So the difference is that one is physical and the other one is more of emotional and psychological. And the abuse is it's not taken very serious.
Yeah.
Because it's not taken serious until it becomes physical. So a lot of people are still in the abuse until they think it's only gets serious when someone puts their hands on them. So that's the difference between domestic abuse and domestic violence.
Okay. Can you take us through, is there any specific time that you can say maybe out of statistics, someone went through abuse and then it went to violence. Is there a specific time? Ama it depends with the person.
Yeah, I wouldn't really want to put it on the victim because it's coming from the abuser.
The abuser, yeah.
So there is no specific time. Most times what we call the red flags, they're always there from the onset, from the tone when the conflict happens. It's most of it might start as just abuse and then it escalates into violence.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not right to give it a specific time. Yeah, because it depends on the abuser. There's some who instantly will get violent, and there are some who are for the longest time are just emotional and psychological abusers. They will not hit you, but they're abusing you mentally.
You've talked about red flags, and maybe these red flags, what I've come to realize is that we see them, they are there, but it's like we turn a blind eye to them. Could you give us the most red flags that we are oblivious of? The things that we see and we're like, okay, but not knowing that it's coming to be something bigger. Could you tell us the red flags that are happening to most of us, men and women, but tunaziweka kando?
Okay. So when we talk about red flags, I think initially when you're dating, everyone has red flags.
Yeah.
But you ever had love is blind?
Yeah.
Love is not only blind physically, it's blind to even character and behavior. When you are so early in love, you tend to blind yourself to it, and people can also fake it.
Yeah, for sure.
In the early stages. So I think there are so many things that play a part in not seeing these red flags. First of all, the infatuation that is earlier on present in the relationship and the obsession with each other, and even preparing for marriage, you're so excited that you might not be able to see. It's like you're preoccupied mentally.
Yeah.
But then it's important to test the relationship when conflict or misunderstanding happens. How does the other person respond? Because it all portrays out in the way you're communicating or resolving.
Yeah.
So someone might get agitated or triggered by something small.
Yeah.
Like you say something small and someone really goes off.
Yeah.
That's actually a big red flag because something is triggered in them. So that means there's something in them that will eventually keep coming out for every time you say that thing. So there's that unresolved thing in them that makes them so. Basically, I as a psychologist, when I talk about marriage, I keep saying it all boils down to communication. Because it's in communication that the physical abuse comes out. Something happens, someone confronts you and they hit you or they insult you. So one of the biggest red flags is the inability to process and resolve conflict.
Yeah.
However small. Because imagine if it's small, marriage is tough. I've been married for 14 years. How long have you been married? I know
2
you're
years.
married.
Going to 3 years.
3 years.
Oh my God, yeah.
How has it been?
It's been amazing, but there has to be ups and downs. Yeah.
So it is tough. The conflict does happen. So it's very important to evaluate how someone responds when there's a misunderstanding. So if it's small, then if you've been married for 2, the bigger things are gonna come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's never going down. It's up.
up. And eventually, I guess it settles. But then if on the onset, something small triggers them that much, imagine when they do the 4, 3, 5 years, when the bigger things come. Yeah.
Thank you so much. In short, what you're saying is whatever you're getting in the dating stages, you should times it by 100, like multiply it by 100.
Yeah, in terms of tone, in terms of the words used, it only gets worse. Because at this stage, remember, we talked about the blindness and the infatuation and the obsession. So after some time, then it goes.
Awesome. You've talked about marriage. You've touched on it. And my question would be, are you for, before we go for premarital counseling, but would you tell someone or would you advise someone to go for therapy with a boyfriend before premarital? Is that something that can work?
I personally, as a psychologist, I think I'm gonna be advocating for this on my journey. It's important for people to do personal therapy.
Okay.
Because most of the abuse comes from experiences. Some of us have grown in homes where it was happening, so it becomes normal.
Wow.
So if I do get married and my mother went through it, why should I leave? Definitely when it happens as you grow, as you're growing up in it, it affects you.
Yeah.
So when you process all that, even for a man who grows up watching the father beat the mother, or that cognitive distortion that happens when you experience it and you think that's a way of showing love, there are people who believe that if your partner beats you or something, till this day, it's a form of love,
Yeah.
depending on their cognitive wiring or reframing on culture, where they come from. So I would advocate for people to do individual sessions, heal, learn communication skills, conflict resolution. No one teaches you these things,
Yeah.
but they were all learning on the job.
Yeah.
So when you are able to work on yourself, learn a few skills, then come together, however damaged someone is, they've done their work, you've done your work, you've learned coping skills, you've learned how to communicate, and then build on that.
Okay. So therapy is very important before the premarital counseling.
Yes.
Just come healed. So
Yeah, I'm
that we
not
are
just saying that because
Yeah.
I'm a psychologist. I've seen what it does to someone
Yeah.
mentally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So when you say you've talked about cognitive something,
Or distortion.
distortion.
Yeah.
Could you tell us what this is? Because we've seen men that have watched their fathers beat their mothers, and now it's repeating itself to their marriages. What is this distortion? What is it that you see? You know it's wrong. You didn't love it, seeing your mom being beaten, but now you're doing it to your wife.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the cognitive distortion is just when you continuously are exposed to something, you create your own meaning about it.
Wow.
So when cognitive is thoughts, so depending on what you think about what you watch, sometimes you might not like it, but then unconsciously end up doing it as a vengeance. My mother was beaten, so I'm gonna beat someone else. You loved your mother
my
so dearly,
God.
but because it hurt you watching that, then unconsciously, sometimes someone will promise themselves, I'm never gonna do it. But then because you watched your mother do it, in a moment of anger, you're triggered to that point. So the distortion happened, you don't know that it's a distortion. So when you watched it, you formed your own meaning about it. This is a way you punish someone when they don't listen. This is a way maybe you show love. Different types of distortions for someone. So your meaning, the meaning that you create about something, good or bad, then it distorts your thinking and your response.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have never even thought about it in that manner. And I think this is so eye-opening, because most of us, you wonder, why is it happening? And they hate it, that their mother was going through it, but now they're doing the same thing. Oh my goodness. I hope you guys are learning, because I'm loving this. And by going to therapy, this distortion can be broken down and heal and now start afresh.
Yeah. So when someone comes to therapy, we are not going to say, was your mother beaten? Yeah. So what we do is just someone comes, narrates, and we're able to pick now the blind spots. So let's say if we're talking about communication, you ask, tell me what happens when someone says something you don't like. I feel this and this. Why do you feel like that? Then as someone keeps narrating, you ask them, when did you start feeling like that?
Yeah.
Eventually the story comes out. Someone will share their story. Because when we are affected by events or things that happen to us, they're in our unconscious mind, and when we given a safe space, they tend to naturally just come out, naturally, without having to force. And therapy has a way of doing that.
Awesome.
We always go back to, when did it start, what happened, and then the story comes out. And then when they share, you're able to pick that distortion and undo it and tell the person you're safe. It's no longer happening. You don't have to do it to someone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much. Now we go to the dilemma. We were going to talk about the victims, what holds them. I'm sure you know someone, or you've had someone that is going through abuse, violence, and basically gender-based violence, but they never leave. They are stuck there. Why? What is the dilemma? Why don't they leave? Because they know it's wrong. They know they're suffering. They know, they can even say, I know he doesn't love me. I know she doesn't love me. But they stay. Why do they stay?
Yeah. So for the victim, I know that if you are a friend or a sister or a brother to the victim, you keep asking them to leave and get frustrated and fail to understand, like, why can't they leave? So it's important to understand the victim's dilemma. It's not that easy. There's something we call trauma bond, which is very common.
Wow.
This is where there's an affection and attachment to the abuser. So let's say if it's in a marriage, because this is where most of the abuse happens, so allow us to refer to marriage, so relationships. Okay. So someone, let's say, beats you or abuses you, and then they reward you. So it becomes like a loop, like a cycle. So then you're born together. You understand? So it's like a cycle. It keeps repeating. So you become, and you find someone even making excuses for this person. Or you tell them, why can't you leave? This guy is doing this, or this lady is abusing you. Because also men do go through abuse. And then you find someone making excuses. He does it, but he's a good, but he's kind. But he's, so that is trauma bond. Then we talked about the cognitive distortions, where someone feels like they deserve love. It doesn't matter what type of love it is. So they are cognitively, for them, their aim is to be in a relationship or be loved.
Oh my goodness.
So this person does not have the ability to just walk. And then also being in an abusive relationship will affect your esteem, your self-esteem.
Yes, for sure.
And then affect your identity. So when you are in that loop, that's all you know. So then when you leave, who are you?
Oh, yeah.
So for the victim, it just becomes easier to stay there because that's how they identify. Because if they are going to leave, then they don't know who they are.
And there's the fear.
Yeah. And then the fear, when you talk about fear, there's also fear of retaliation. Because remember, some who are abused, they think if they pack and leave, this person might go to the extent of killing them.
Oh, yeah.
So they feel like they are actually, this is safe for them to stay.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so that's the cognitive distortion. That's the dilemma the victim is in. They're thinking, if I leave, he might kill me, or she might do something extreme, take my children, kill them. So I'd rather stay. I'd rather stay. That's now explaining it psychologically. And then there are other factors that are like family of origin. We talked about, if I grew up in a family where there is abuse, there is mental disorders, where someone's ability to make decisions is not that straightforward as you might think. Because ours is, on the other side, is like, why can't she just leave? Sometimes these people have families where they can accept them, but they won't leave.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so the dilemma of the victim is actually really tough for them. It's not that like they enjoy it, but it's not easy. Especially if someone has formed a trauma bond, it's not easy. If someone has learned helplessness or hopelessness, where they feel like, this is it, I'm stuck here, there is no way I can go, where do I go?
Okay.
Like,
do you think that there's a way the abuser grooms the victim from way back for them to have another identity? Because sometimes you find, maybe when they were dating, this person was assertive, they could make decisions, they were strong. Sometimes you see a person and you're like, but you've changed. Like, this is not you. You no longer recognize them. So is there a grooming that is done by the abuser, that you change and now you become, you're not assertive, you can't make decisions, you are stuck? Is there a grooming? Sorry.
I wouldn't call it grooming per se. I would call it a pattern. When something is repetitive, then you tend to become a victim of that something.
Wow.
So they don't really have to groom you, but because of that exposure constantly, then it affects your thoughts, your behavior, and your actions.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like if you expose someone to something for quite such a long time, by default, they just start changing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
they
For
just
sure.
start changing. So the abuser does not groom the victim per se. It's just that exposure that now starts affecting them, that by default they end up changing.
Wow. Now that we've understood the mind of the victim, what they're going through, why they're stuck, why they don't, get up and just leave. And actually, I think we should give them grace. We should try to understand, because I think we are quick to get frustrated and be like, just like, mbona utoki?
Judge
Just talk her. Yeah, judging. So I think, how can we give them grace? How can we, from outside, let's say it's my sister, it's my friend, and I'm so angry, I'm just like, why can't you leave? How can we give them grace, but also be there for them?
I think it's important to understand, if we do understand the dilemma of the victim, depending on what dilemma they're in, one of the ways is to seek support, because what we do, unprofessionally, is give advice. And unless you walk someone's shoes, you might never understand what it is they're going through.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you are in a position to get them support, if they are willing, sometimes they might not be willing to get the support. Remember, they are trauma bond.
Oh, yes.
But what they need is safe space, not judgment. So they come, share their story, and you empathize and listen and not judge. So that means they'll keep coming back to you.
Okay.
So when they keep coming back to you, then you start suggesting, can we talk to someone?
Okay.
Can we talk to someone? And let that someone not be someone that is going to dismiss them or invalidate what they're going through. So that's the way, by creating a safe space. So in general, that is creating a safe space. Then I cannot emphasize enough what we are doing here, creating awareness for them to know that it's not okay. And for those who feel like this is the only way I can be loved, like we've talked about the distortions, just psycho-educating and sharing information and constantly talking about it. But we didn't talk about other factors where someone might actually want to leave, but there are families where you will go share with your family and they will tell you to stay.
Oh, yes.
There are people who do not have families that are willing to support them. When you talk about dowry price that has been paid, some families, some cultures, if you leave, they are going to have to pay it back. So even if you go to your family and tell them, they think about how much they have to pay back if you leave, and they're going to ask you to stay.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah. So this is to the families. It's very important to have family support, especially from the parents.
Yes.
Because you can imagine if your child is going through it and they come to you and you ask them to stay, they feel like there is nowhere else. Because family is the first your parent is your first go-to person, your rescue.
Yeah.
So if it's not there, so it's important for the family to support, then psychoeducate, and then mental health awareness.
Oh my goodness. It's so unfortunate. It's so sad that we let's say we are not ignorant, but maybe we are oblivious, because we tend to look at our frustrations and think, why can't they leave and all that. But now we are learning that we can create a safe space and, just avoid advice before creating a safe space. Because all they need is a listening ear, someone to empathize with. And thank you so much. I hope you're learning, you guys. So before we take a short break, what are other factors that contribute to someone staying?
Okay.
Yeah.
Unlike us, this one is sensitive, but let's talk about religious. There are religious factors that contribute, where church might encourage forgiveness and perseverance, which will make the victim feel dismissed. because a lot of victims will go to church and seek solace. I've had clients who came to me and the first place they went to was church.
Yeah.
And they were told, you need to forgive and you need to persevere. It's just the devil. Yeah.
Hey.
So those are some of the things that make people stay, especially when they feel like they got married in church. Church is their support system, but then they can't even come out because they'll feel embarrassed. So if they get that, then it's like you're shutting down. They're shutting down. They feel like if they don't have the support from church, then they just have to stay in it.
Wow.
Yeah, that's one of the things. Then the mentality of staying for the sake of the children.
That's I think that's a huge one.
Yeah, I wish parents knew that the child ends up getting childhood trauma watching their parent go through abuse. Let me tell you, I was one of them. I have mentioned earlier, I grew up in an abusive home.
Yeah.
It makes you hyper vigilant. You're always feeling like there's danger. You're always scared to bring up issues. That was me. But I've healed, I've learned, and I'm not blaming my parents. That was their own situation. It wasn't mine, but I was a victim of that environment.
Yeah.
So I'm not talking bad about them, but I got to witness that. So then me, do I want to stay a victim of that, or do I want to heal, learn from it, and do better for myself? So you always have a choice in life. So what I'm talking about is it's really important to remove yourself from your parent's situation. If you watched it happen, it affects you. So parents who think that staying for the children is doing them a favor, you are damaging them. Your son is watching their father beat or insult the mother. He's gonna learn that. Your daughter is watching the mother insult or do whatever to the father. That is going to affect them. Cognitively, we talked about cognitively. It affects them in school, their performance. We could have a whole topic on that, on how it affects the child.
We definitely will.
Yeah, I had a client the other day who's now 20 years, and he watched his parents get into a fight at 6. And now started doing drugs to cope with that because he felt helpless.
Yeah.
He loves both parents, couldn't rescue any. And some of these things that are happening now, it's because of certain things like that that the children watch. So parents, you are not doing your children a favor by staying in abusive relationships. You are damaging them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you said about being a victim as a child is like a whole new topic, which I can't wait for us to discuss. We'll plan that you'll come so that we can learn and see and have a perspective of a child that has grown up with the whole drama, abuse of the parents and violence. So
I forgot to say 2 more things that contribute. The economic status. If someone is dependent on the victim financially, it makes it so hard for them to live. And the abuser might use finances to control them. So it's important that people do get empowered. Then also the level of education might play a factor. Though I know people that are successful CEOs, but they're in abusive relationships. So sometimes it's not a must, but I would tend to think someone who is educated and more aware might make a decision better than someone, a village girl who's less educated. So those are the other factors that come into play.
I'm your host Celestine Gashohe, and we're here with our guest Tracy. So tumetoka kuongea kuhusu the factors that make victims stay, or they're in that dilemma. Maybe we can touch on cultural factors, and because we've talked about mental, economic, and social, so we can touch on cultural.
Okay. When we talk about cultural factors, I think culturally marriage is made to look like it's a permanent thing. Like you've gotten married, you have to stay in it. There's continuity. It's giving continuity to the family. You have to have children, and then you have to stay with your partner. So when you make it look like it's a permanent thing, then someone tends to get married thinking there is no way out even when things get tough.
Oh, yeah. So when you're getting in, it's imprinted in us. You will never.
Yeah. because when you watch most marriages and let's say even the church, even the traditional functions, people are doing exaggerated things and over the top things to make it look like this is your new life, this is where you go, this is for life. Like my culture, our parents actually give us household stuff, and some families give houses. So they give you this house as a couple, they gift you this piece of land as a couple. You see, those are things that are making it look like it's gonna be a permanent thing. So then you're damned if you leave.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's how culture plays a part. We talked about dowry. I talked about some cultures where they'll have to pay back the dowry price. So
If you leave.
if you divorce, the family has to pay back the dowry price. So then what happens to a family that has already used up all the dowry and cannot afford to pay back? They're going to ask you to stay.
Yeah.
So when you run to your family and the expectation is that it's okay, you can leave, they're not going to give you that because they don't have the money to pay back.
They'll tell you to stay.
Yeah, they'll tell you to stay.
Yeah.
So there is so much that culture plays into making the victim feel like they're stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you can't talk about culture without the family of origin. Like we also talked about cultures where abuse is normalized. There are cultures where abuse is normalized. Like for a man to beat you, like that's okay. In our culture, it's acceptable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then you feel like this is I've grown up with this. My culture believes this is okay. So then what do? You're stuck.
Wow.
Yeah, you're stuck.
So now that this is what we have grown up with, the culture, we've believed marriage, you'll never get out. We've believed this is it for me. If I get married, my life is changed and I can never leave. This is imprinted in us. How can we, I don't want to say run away, but how can we remove ourselves from that for our safety?
Yeah, culture is important. It plays a part in defining who we are and our identity. But also, as we get older, it's good to do some culture reframing.
Okay.
Yeah.
How does
what
that look
makes
like?
sense? What is true? What doesn't make sense? So reframing is just like reconstruction of certain things that don't really make sense. There are so many cultural beliefs that were there then, maybe as a guide for people to stay on track. But now you have to question. Let's say in the case of domestic abuse, if I come from a culture where it's okay for a man to put the hands on a woman and maybe for a woman vice versa, then is that okay? Is that okay? And then when we answer that question, we reframe and say, no, that is not okay. Whatever reasons they had for coming up with that culture, I don't believe in that.
Yeah.
So you reframe your mind, you accept yourself to change, accept some and question others. So that's just what reframing means.
Okay, so this is, you're saying, when we are choosing the cultures or whatever we are taking, I think safety should be our number one.
Yes.
That's why, like, FGMs, it was normal, but now we have looked at the safety of the girls, the safety, how does it affect them, with pregnancy, with sexual intercourse, and we have seen there's no safety for girls. So whatever culture it is, whatever tribe, you have to question and just see whatever you want to take, but safety being the first thing. Okay, as we wind up, maybe you can tell us the consequences of victims, the consequences of the victims that have gone through gender-based violence. What is it at the end for them when they have been through gender-based violence? We can do victims, on children, and on society.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'll start with the victim because they are the wearer of the shoe. So if you are the victim of GBV, the end result is going to be depression. Depression is a state of sadness and which eventually leads to suicidation. So you can imagine someone who has to live each and every day of their lives in an abusive home. You might not be abused today, but we talked about hypervigilant. You're always scared. You're always anxious, constantly. You don't know how the person is going to come in today. You don't know what you're getting today. You don't know what you have to do to make them stay calm.
Yeah.
So that creates heightened anxiety.
Oh.
And then now depression, because you're constantly unhappy and feeling hopeless. There's no hope for you because this is what you have to deal with.
Yeah.
That's one of the side effects. Then we have to talk about self-esteem.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you can imagine as an adult, you're being reduced to nothing verbally. You're being beaten like a child. You're being slapped sometimes in front of people.
Oh, Lord.
And then I know that these victims sometimes, if they have been physically abused, they have to mask it.
Oh, yes.
Constantly. So you can imagine for someone to go through that, think about their self-esteem. And the fact that they're staying in it. And that's why we need to understand how big of a problem it is for them. Not
Yes.
for us who are
Yeah.
watching. Their self-esteem has been distorted. Yeah, then isolation. Because now when you tell people you're scared that you'll be judged, then what will happen? You tend to start isolating yourself. You don't want to share anymore. That's the you have changed
Oh,
kind
yes.
of statement.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have changed.
That's when the change comes in. So these victims will tend to isolate themselves from family gatherings because maybe they have a big scar they don't want to show. And they have a black eye, so they will miss out on certain things because they don't want to be seen.
Yes.
Yeah, so there is so much mental consequences that happen to the victim that we can go on and on and on. Now, let's talk about the child. I think I briefly talked about the child because I was once that child. The child, some of them will repeat the behavior, and sometimes we call it a generational curse. Some of these things that we call generational curses, they're not curses. Like, if it's abuse and it runs in the family, someone just needs to stop doing it. And then it won't be a curse. It's not a curse, it's a behavior. Yeah. So when you psychoeducate and you know it's not right, or if you culture reframe and it's not right, then you stop. It's no longer a curse. You realize it's a behavior that needs to be stopped. Yeah. So, and then for the children, another thing is that they get PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder. Watching this when they are children, they feel helpless. Remember, children love both parents. So watching both parents go at each other, they don't know what to do. So they feel helpless. They get angry. These anger issues that you see in people, that's the genesis sometimes, not all of it. Because have you ever felt helpless and hopeless?
Yeah.
And then it makes you angry that you can't do anything about it. And for some kids, they resent their parents for it.
Oh, yeah.
There are children who end up resenting their parents for staying in abusive. They don't understand, just like we don't understand why you're staying. So even so, for the children, it affects their academic performance. When the child goes to school, they're thinking about what's happening at home. So academically, they start declining. It affects their cognition, ability to concentrate in class, because all they are thinking about is the chaos back at home.
Yeah, and is my mom fine?
Is my mom
Is
fine?
my dad okay?
They also develop anxiety because they're constantly scared of the environment. If it's too violent, they're constantly worried. Are they going to kill each other? What's going to happen next? They're hypervigilant. So there is so much consequences when there's an environment full of abuse on the children. And then also for the community, there's just that instability, that worry. And then people who are living amongst the violence, there are people who carry guilt and shame for failing to help.
And they don't know how to help. Wow.
And then in the community, it's creating something. It's the younger generation watching the older generation, and it's just creating a certain level of toxic behavior and toxic patterns. So it affects and its effects and consequences cut across.
Wow. As in, I think mostly when you talk about a child, I already in my head, I'm feeling like, because I feel like it's too much for a child to go through that. It's a lot of stress. like already me listening, a grown up listening to that, thinking I'm going to school, my dad, you know, alikuwa ananyongwa jana, or my mom sijui alishikiwa kisu. How am I supposed to concentrate to learn to be a happy child? So actually, this this whole setup steals my childhood.
Yeah.
And that's why you become angry. You're angry even when you're a grown up. You didn't play, you didn't have fun with your parents, which is so unfortunate. And I think that's a topic that we can, you know, sit down just an hour, talk about it, and, you know, dig deeper so that we can learn, and even our audience can, you know, learn something and know how we can handle it. And also, I think when you talk about the society having guilt, I've been in a situation where I was living in Umoja some time back, maybe 10 years ago, and in the apartment, we constantly had someone like above us every night. My God, you don't know what to do. And even guys, like, you know, men used to go and knock the door, and they are beaten by the guy. So they want to help, but it's so chaotic. So you just hear the mama screaming and screaming, and you can't sleep because you're thinking, what if today something happens? And nobody can really come in because you want to, but there are so many barriers. And also, you know, the mama is like, wacha nini na marriage yetu and all that. So the dilemma also of the people that are affected, the society, the children, even the family, like the family of maybe the woman. Thank you so much for sharing that. And as we wind up, we have maybe 10 minutes. What can we do as a society? You know, the government, the family. What can we do to help a person to leave, a person that is in this dilemma, to leave this toxic place? I know we talked about creating a safe space, but what do we do beyond the safe space? Beyond them, you know, beyond us advising on see someone, talk to someone. What can we do beyond that as a society, the government, and as victims, also victims themselves? What can they do to help themselves to live?
Okay.
Yeah.
So for the victim, they need to know what alternatives or what options or what safe places are there for them. I know, like in the US, they have, is it safe house?
Yeah.
Is it a safe house or something?
There are safe houses.
Safe houses.
Yes.
I don't know if we have those here.
We do. We do.
Do people know that they are there?
Yes, people know, but they're not so much out there. But we are going to try and get every safe house and just tell you where the safe houses are. One that I know is, you've heard of Usikimie? Yeah, you need to follow them on their social media because they do the safe houses. They, you know, you get people that have been taken and, you know, taken care of and helped, you know. And also there's another one called Kenya Women and Children's Wellness Center, which is Maroroi hapo hivyo. We will bring all these things so that these are resources that can help someone. You can go there, have your time, heal before you get up on your feet. Yeah, so safe houses are there. It's just that we don't know about them. But msijali, we'll bring the information here. Okay? Yeah.
So it's important for people to know that I'm not stuck, especially the victim.
Yeah.
And that's where the safe houses come in. Someone knows that I've reached my tipping point. There's a place I can go and sleep night. And then another thing is legal rights.
Yes.
Victims need to know what are their legal rights. Are they there? Some of these acts are in the Constitution or somewhere that people don't know. So a lot of awareness is all we need to know. We could assume that people know their rights, people know these things, but people don't know. People don't know. And we have to keep talking about it because, like, when we do this show, it might not reach out to 10,000s of people.
Yeah.
Even just one person or two people, three people that are in dire need of help.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's important to know what are their legal rights, what options are there for them. And then family, please, if you have someone that is a son or a daughter or a cousin, please, these people need your support.
Yeah.
Because family is everything. So if I'm in a family where I feel like leaving, I probably will be disowned by my family. My family will not be okay with it. It's going to make it harder.
Yeah.
But if there's support of the family, I think it's one of the most important things for a victim.
Yeah.
To have family support. It's like a safe haven for them.
Yes.
Yeah. So family, please, you need to support, and you need to, even in normal conversations, there are people here in abusive situations and they don't talk about it. So it's always important to listen to someone as they share their story and be able to pick, are they going through it? Maybe someone needs someone to just be able to identify and ask about it. Yeah, they're scared, they don't know how to say it. So when you are having conversations with friends and someone is talking, most times we're just having talks, we're just hearing, we are not listening.
Yes.
We are not listening. It's important to listen when people talk and be able to now see if there's a cry for help. Yeah, so there's so much more that can be done, but I also want to emphasize that it's not easy, especially for the person trying to help. It's not easy when someone is trauma bond, or when someone is there and they feel like this is okay. It becomes very difficult, and people lose relationships. People are cut off. People are, like, so much happens in trying to rescue someone who doesn't want to be rescued. So it's not easy. It's not easy. And sometimes you're scared that this person will end up being killed, so you keep trying to rescue. And sometimes they cut you off because they feel like you're... And sometimes the abuser even is aware that there's this friend trying to rescue, and they're like, I don't want to see you with this other person.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so it's not that easy for the person trying to rescue, but you do the best that you can. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. When you talk about us, the way it's hard for the outsiders to understand, and the way we are frustrated and creating a safe space, at least we've learned, create the safe space, but also not giving up on them and just listening, because it's not easy. If you've dealt with someone that you know for sure they're going through it, and you're speaking and it's like hakuna kusikia, it's not easy, but we've learned so much. Thank you so much, Tracy. I really hope that you'll come again. You are so knowledgeable. My God, I know you've learned something. And me, I want you back. I want you back, so that first of all, we can talk about the children and so much more, so that we can understand from a perspective of the children. So asante sana. You can give us your parting shot.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
And also tell us where we can find you, how you do your sessions. You know, someone could be, in dire need of a therapist.
Okay.
And how they can find you, where. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Celestine. Thank you for having me. I just
sana.
want to appreciate you for creating awareness on this topic. It's very sensitive.
Thank you.
And I commend you for having the courage. Yeah.
Asante.
And anyone going through or in a situation of abuse, you have so much to lose and nothing to gain. There is nothing good that has come out of abuse. If it's abuse and it's not physical, it's still abuse. It doesn't matter. It's just going to get worse. So that's my message to you. Family members, relatives, please create a safe space for your people so that someone knows that this is where I can go to. Do you know the power of a parent telling a child, if ever someone lays their hand on you, or a brother or a sister, let me know.
Wow.
And when they do act, not just for the sake of saying, do you know how powerful that is?
I can only imagine.
Yeah, so family, please. I have to bring this to a close. I could go on and on and on because I've seen the effect of this. But thank you. My name is Tracy Korugendo again. I have social media platforms as Tracy Korugendo, Gen Z and Millennial psychologist. I'm on LinkedIn and my contacts are there. So anyone, I do virtual, I do hybrid, I do virtual and physical sessions, and I often host webinars that are free. So just follow me on my social media platforms. I do a lot of psychoeducation, and I have a webinar on trauma. I'll be actually talking about now childhood trauma and defining trauma. So I do a lot of psychoeducation and hoping like I can also help someone who needs cognitive restructuring.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that is me. Thank you for having me. And thank you, Celestine. I appreciate it.
Karibu
And
sana.
I'll be back.
Yes, you
Yeah, I love doing this. I'll be back. Anytime you need me, I'll be back. Yeah.
Asante sana.
Okay.
Asante sana kwa kujitolea, and also, you know, giving yourself to us and to our audiences. This has been Simama Talks with yours truly, Celestine Gashohe. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, this show will be running on Kiambu TV every Tuesday and Thursday from 9:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. and also on my YouTube channel, Celestine Gashohe, every Wednesday and Friday. Remember to follow us on our social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Kiambu TV, and also Celestine Gashohe and Simama Initiative platform on Instagram. If you have any question, get in touch through our email, gashohecelestine@gmail.com, ama on our inbox, Simama Initiative on Instagram. Once again, thank you so much for watching. My name is Celestine Gashohe. Until next time, God bless you.